I'm a bad mode, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep them out of sight. Talking about my life, government stay away. If you drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. I'm to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome to the channel. The little one is right there playing with her balls and cups. And I don't know where she's going now. I don't know. She'll let me know. Thanks for your patience with me. I was getting ready. I was in Mr. Coop's chat. And then I suddenly realized that I have to cook these pork chops for dinner, because if I don't cook them today, they're going bad. But I don't just like to season something and like put it on the grill right there. Like I like it to marinate. So I seasoned it with honey chipotle killer bee, and then I will stick it on the Blackstone later. So we will get to what we are all here for. Sarah Boone is being sent. Sarah Boone is being sentenced. Greatest day ever. For those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't know, Sarah Boone is the suitcase killer. She is convicted of my daughter is trying to climb over chairs, and it's kind of scary for me right now. This girl's gonna give me a headache. I gave birth to Evel Knievel. She is convicted of second-degree unaliving of her boyfriend at the time, Jorge Torres. She put him in a suitcase. She put him in a suitcase and zipped up the suitcase, and that's where he stopped, unfortunately, breathing. Sorry, I'm putting these patches on. If y'all don't know, these things are some of the best things ever invented for pain. And since I just worked out and took a shower, and I'm trying to get through my my pain, I gotta put some pain patches on. They look like scopolamine patches, but they're not. One goes there, and one goes on the back of the neck, right over the tattoo. Oh, hey, Sir Frank. How is everybody doing? Sorry, I'm a little like, not disheveled, but like I've done a lot today and got a lot going on. So the tea for the day is tune in to Tug tonight, because Tug has some emails that are very interesting. That everybody might be interested in hearing. They are between me and a certain, shall you say, pissed off attorney. That Sue Happy attorney. There is nothing up on the screen right now. I have a feeling she needs another snack because she didn't eat a whole lot of lunch, and I'm being guided. So talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to do mama stuff and take a nice little snack break. Sorry.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun. as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed, the glass so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild.
Hey guys, thanks for your patience. She wanted her stuff from the bedroom. So, and now she's gonna decide to put her toys on my treadmill and, hop back. Thank you, Flash Fan. Shani did it for me because, a lot of people that I know on here are a lot smarter than me, and they help me out with everything that I need. Yeah, pain patches like Band-Aids. Pretty much. Whoa, girl. Uh-oh. You lost privilege. Thank you. She likes to turn it on. She even knows how to plug it in and turn it on, and it stinks. Because she's good with it most of the time, but she's getting ambitious and trying to do things that she shouldn't do. Hey, gang's all here. Need my squid and baby squid fix. So apparently, and I just find this shit amusing. So like, I'm not offended or scared at all by these people. But like, to say that CPS is watching because I let my daughter cry while I was live, because I let my daughter cry. For those of you who are parents, you will get this. But tell me you don't have kids without telling me. She cried for 5 minutes today because I wouldn't let her play with a knife. Let's think that through. They are LifeWave. They are phototherapy. It sounds like a bunch of hoo-ha, or hooey, but they actually work. I got them from Rosalind. She's a rep for the company that sells them. So if you have questions about them or want to know more, Rosalind Duke is your girl. She doesn't really push that she sells them or that she has a link to sell them, but she does. And they're worth it. I need to order some. These are the ones she sent me. I actually need to order some for myself. They help so much. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is like, she cried because I was cutting strawberries, and we have a kitty slicer, that's like, it has a handle and then the blade underneath, that she has been practicing with my help to learn how to slice things. Well, I was slicing strawberries today and I needed to just slice them quickly. So I grabbed a knife and was just kind of, and she was mad that she couldn't help me. Yeah, I don't know. And see, everybody who knows me knows that like, I'm not a fan of either side. Like, I'd never heard of Jeremy Hales before this. I don't have anything against him personally, but like, his content is just not my, like, I'm a sports person. Like, even there's a couple people that I know that got into the storage type stuff on their channels, and it's been working for them, but that's just not my content. Like, that's just not what I'm interested in. So like, I don't have anything against him personally, but like, it's just not my content. So I don't subscribe to him. I still don't subscribe to him. And it's like, but I have nothing against him, but like, yeah, every little thing. Oh, CPS is watching. And what is CPS going to do about a crying toddler? tell me you've never had a 2-year-old without telling me. And if you give in to everything a 2-year-old cries about, you're going to have a very entitled, spoiled child. Because literally, like, right now she's playing with some Dysum. Oh, if you don't know what Dysum is, it's a therapist's dream. I put Dysum underneath or on my little thing here to keep my phone from moving. Hey, Musi. So we are just waiting for Court TV to start their stream. I will go ahead and share it just so that I'm not late. Because you know how sometimes I'm not paying attention. Uh-oh. What happened? Do you want your water? It's on the table. Okay. Can you turn off the treadmill, please? Okay. Thank you. Like, hey, Patrick. Yeah, don't raise your kids to be like Hunter. Sorry, the chat was moving a little faster than I was ready for. Speaking of sports, I have an unsolved case from the 60s involves a boxer who was wrongfully convicted. That sounds interesting. I don't know what y'all think as viewers, but I've kind of been wanting to do like cold cases. Some that have been solved, some that haven't. I'm not going to touch the JonBenet Ramsey thing because that's been like everybody knows about JonBenet Ramsey, but I want to do smaller cases that people aren't familiar with. But like I kind of like cold cases because murders are hard to solve in general, especially when it's like stranger on stranger. I've watched enough true crime and Joe Kenda to know that stranger on stranger violence is the hardest thing to solve because they have no connection. It's completely random. So as quickly as I don't know if any of them have children. That's the thing. I don't care to pay attention. This was comments, I guess, on Facebook that I was sent. And it's like I don't do Facebook as far as like Facebook is like friends and family only. I don't comment on any cases or anything there. I don't even post my streams there. So like it's just weird to me that it's like, oh, yeah. And it's like, go ahead and try it. The cops here already know that people have threatened to call CPS on me. Like, they already know. I've talked to them more than once. I live in a town of less than 3,000 people. I see at least one cop a day. All I have to do is drive down the street, and I see 5 of them. They're everywhere. They have nothing better to do than to find wrong, they have nothing better to do than sit and try to search for people who threaten other people. So that and speeders. So, like, I'm not scared. Like, I know that I'm not scared. The cops here already know that people are planning or threatening to call CPS. But, like, if you, like she cries. She's 2. She's 2. Like, geez. I'll send you the Burger Chef case from the 70s, where 4 workers were unalive, never solved. Burger Chef was a restaurant that competed with McDonald's years ago. Interesting. And Musi, how are you doing? I do have a couple of videos that I want to record. I've mentioned this in the past, but since someone wanted to be a douchebag to me, like a douche canoe, shall you say, I did a video on David Gingras, and I compared his Arizona Bar Code of Ethics or Code of Professional Conduct, compared that to his actions at the June 10th hearing for Laura Owens. I am going to do the same thing with a few other lawyers and judges that I've seen do some shady shit. Back in the day when I first started I say back in the day, it was like April, I wanted to do a unethics and law segment because I hate people who are bound by a code of ethics not actually following their code of ethics. That's doctors, nurses, judges, anybody, governments, like even though our Congress don't technically have a code of ethics, they should. People that are bound by a professional code of ethics, I like to compare their code of ethics with a video of them. So, you know, yeah, douche canoe. Sorry, Patrick, you made my day, and thank you for the $2 super chat, or super sticker. I don't have my YouTube studio open. My feet are always cold. That's what happens when you don't have feeling in them. Holy bejesus. I just opened up my YouTube studio, and we are over 1,400 subscribers. Oh my goodness. I love how you cover issues and whatnot on your channel for this OC thing. Same goes for most of the new channels I follow. Good outcome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to cover, well, here's my thing. And I always say, here's my thing. Like, there's a Mr. Here's Your Thing on TikTok. I feel like I'm stealing his thunder. So many people cover the same issues. So many people covered Sarah Boone. So many people covered are covering What the Hales. So many people cover every topic. And I don't want to be like everybody else. Because if I am like everybody else, why watch me? Like, what's the point of watching me if I'm exactly the same as somebody else? Plus, with my background in healthcare, I'm a very analytical person. Like, I try to keep emotions out of it, except for humor and rage at times, which happens. It's one of those things of like, I cover it from a very black or white. Is it following the rules or is it not? Like, I'm a very, Hey, Stacy, how are you today? You're here but not paying attention to chat. Happens to me all the time. However, that being said, Saturday, somebody emailed me, a certain lawyer who shall remain nameless, and I said I wouldn't share the emails if they stopped talking about me. I know they weren't. I wrote every email as if somebody was going to read it on a live stream. Very analytical. I did not use any ChatGPT or any AI to write my emails. My emails are all my own words. From day one, I made it known I didn't want to cover the OC drama. I saw you on Chasey's channel, following mostly. And that's the thing. I don't want to be a part of the drama. I've only done 2 videos on the stuff because of the fact that they threatened me. And I'm the type of person where I will stay in my own lane, because there's 2 things in life that are free: the ability to mind your own business and the ability to stay in your lane. I can't say I got dragged in, because I didn't technically get dragged in, but they mentioned my child, which set me on a war path, because my whole world is protecting her. Like, when she was born, yeah, it was. Uh-oh, what? No, you didn't do that. Mommy did that. It's okay. My whole world is her. And when you bring her into a situation, like, I could care less. I'm an adult. I know how to ignore shit. But when you bring my daughter into a situation, I lose all, like, rational thinking. That's where I got the nickname Unhinged. Or not the nickname, but the title Unhinged. I got the title Unhinged. And I'm kind of proud of that, because if you call me unhinged when it comes to caring and protecting my child, I will wear that unhinged badge with pride. Speaking of unhinged, I have to talk to a few people, but I am coming out with a line of unhinged merch because if people want to talk about me, I'm going to monetize the crap out of that. Yes, Mama Bear will protect. Like, when they were just talking about me, I'm like, okay, stupid, I don't care. Like, yeah, don't care. But, yeah, I can only take so much of that drama, too. But somebody emailed me. And it's funny that he thought he was going to take advantage of me and actually get on my channel without apologizing to me. That's hilarious. Like, you really thought that I was going to let you on my channel? And I apologize to anybody who thought in my chat or in the world, in anybody's chat, who actually thought I was going to let him anywhere near my channel without an apology. I did not tell him the truth. When I said I'd send him a link, I meant it, because that is no preparation. You don't have time to prepare what you're going to do or strategize how you're going to go about this. It's like a put your money where your mouth is and come on. But I am more calculated than people give me credit for. Life is a chess match, and you always want to think 7, 8, 9 moves ahead. So I knew what do you think I asked him to email me for? Because he accuses me of grifting, and I don't have to because they do it for me. But I prefer them to stop talking about me, but I know that's not going to happen. So I'm going to use it to boost my channel. So I will not mention it as anymore, but if you want to, and I will not be reading the emails here, but if you want to know what they said, tune in to Tug. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's the thing. I try to give my see, and I did try to give him a chance, but I knew it wasn't gonna work. Like, I knew, like, I had to have a strategy, because, like, I knew going in that he was going to lie to me, or you know. So I knew going in. So it was kind of a calculated move on my part, to show that I will be objective, but the minute you give me something not to be objective about, I'm not going to, yeah. So I'm still going to cover, I will be covering the court stuff, but I won't be like reviewing videos. I won't be like, oh, they said this, they said this, they said this. I'm not going to do that big back and forth. I like, you know, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, if everybody covers everything the same way, why choose me over a channel with more subscribers and more people in chat? And, like, you know, so I try to do things from a very different perspective, like the night court. Like, Flash Fan and I kind of came up with that night court. Oh my God. I kind of came up with that night court because nobody else that I know of, I'm sure there are channels out there who are doing it, but I love to court watch. I don't have time to, I don't have time with her to sit down all day for an 8-hour, stream. I got life to take care of. Yeah, Tug's chat just moves really fast. Really fast. So, hey, how are you? Send the emails to Shizzy. He'll do great spin on them, I'm sure, since Bubbles started the dumpster fire. Tug has them. So I'm sure Shizzy and I will get to them someday. I have to talk to Shizzy. I haven't really, I've been so busy. I haven't talked to Tug or Shizzy or the expert or anybody behind the scenes in weeks. And I used to message them a lot because, they were the people who helped me get started with my channel. And, but I figured I gave them to Tug because, one, I told Bubbles I wouldn't read them. If he didn't talk about me. If you talk about me, it's a free game. But I also like have a moral code, sort of. And when it's my whole goal to annoy somebody, what would make them more mad? Me reading them to my 1,400 subscribers, or Tug reading them to 398,000? The more people who know that Tug is, or not Tug, the more people that know that Bubbles is full of crap, and how quickly he goes from wanting to kiss your ass to try to get on your channel, to threatening you or being threatened by you. You know, oh yeah, I know they do. That's fine. Tug has my emails too. I wrote every email knowing that it was going to get read, because he actually messaged or emailed me and said, can I share your emails? And I said no. So, you know, how are you this afternoon? Is that an orchid in your picture? Is that an amaryllis? I don't know if that's a flower or not. I know I've been subscribed to Shizzy since he had like 2. So, yeah. Well, he talked nice, but it's not the first time he responded. It was the first time, or it's not the first time I responded. It was the first time I responded, and he didn't get the answer he wanted to hear. And that's when he blew up. So, you know, Coop Raid. How is everybody? Yes, that's a this one I don't like as much as the one on my back, but this one I like better. But there's my orchids. So, and for those of you just oh yeah, I don't care. I think it's funny. Like I think it's funny. In order to get under my skin, I have to care. And I think it's hilarious. I actually think I didn't, but I should. No, I would never do that. I'm not that mean. Like, I will never comment on the way somebody looks because of the fact that, you know, I'm no Cindy Crawford, my damn self. Yeah, I think so. I lost a subscriber during our stream last night, so I'm pretty sure that he saw that he got a gifted membership. He saw me make fun of it, and he saw me make fun of it, and he unsubscribed. Like, but it's funny because even the hate watchers, yeah, DD214 Code of Ethics is a very wide range in interpretation, and usually quite surprising to muggles. This is a 2-year-old who doesn't get her way. I mean, she does a lot. She's spoiled. I will give her that. But she's currently trying to put a piece of Dysum on her foot. Dysum is like industrial non-skid. What are you doing? I put it in drawers under the non-skid stuff to keep that non-skid stuff from moving. I put it like in between a plate and the table to keep the plate from moving. So like I have it from when I worked in the clinic. I bought my own stuff because sometimes when you need stuff done, you can't go to your boss and say, we need to order this. I need to order this. I needed it like 2 hours ago. So I would just buy my own stuff and have my own like Dysum that I would cut up, and because we put it between someone's wheelchair and a wheelchair pad to keep the wheelchair pad from moving. I actually need to put a piece under this pad to keep this pad on my chair from moving. So, yeah, you beat me to the comment. Yeah, and it's just funny to me, the people who were like, oh, you let your daughter cry on camera, like, or in the background. I'm like, she's 2. Like, this girl cried today because I took a shower. She wanted to take a bath, or she wanted to climb in the shower with me, but I didn't have time to give her a shower, her a bath. I will do it after dinner when she makes a mess of herself. I will. Oh, she got a big old smile on her face. She thinks she is getting away with this. Hey, good. And this came from Mr. Coop and Mr. Spawn, not a hater, and another gift for you. Hey, Sandy Lou, how are you? Ugh. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a Wisconsin native, Milltown's actual best. Just joking. Yeah. Oh, I know. But I live in the deep South. I live in South Georgia. So my fiance and baby daddy is a fellow vet who I deployed with, and a Georgia native. So we live here. Most of my family lives in up north, except for my mother. So hey, you want to say hi? Are you actually gonna walk, or are you just gonna play? Because if you're just gonna play on it, we're not. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just waiting to see who I'm having an affair with. I'm just waiting for them to come. Oh, no, wait. Me and Squirrel. That's what they said. But last I checked, Squirrel bats for the other team. So yeah, it was 25 here this morning. So like it wasn't, 25 degrees and 85% humidity. It's just affair. Like who we're sleeping with. Apparently the Wilborns and Mike from Veteran Nation are having an affair. Megan and Tug are sleeping together. Apparently I used to date Squirrel, even though Squirrel bats for the other team. We are interested in the same group or the same gender of people. Yeah, and you will never, if very ever, see Mr. Squid on camera. You might see his arms if she's sitting in my lap and he comes to get her. Oh yeah. Oh, the villages. Yes, this is how I had a charge nurse who taught the SIA cover your ass method of nursing. Document everything, keep a notebook with info. Yeah. Cover your ass. Pretty much. Document everything. In one of his emails he mentioned, or his first email, he was like a phone call, and I'm like, nope, because there's no receipts, and I'm not getting accused of recording, even though I think I live in a one-party state. Not even doing it. Malicious moves. Oh my god, there's a new one. He's doing all right from what I understand. He sends me stuff on Twitter every now and then. Oh, and there's our least favorite, well, I can't say least favorite defense attorney or least favorite attorney, because the more and more attorneys I meet, the more and more I realize the stereotype of why people hate attorneys. Like, hey, you want to come up here? No? Okay. Oh, sleepy girl. My goodness. Oh. Hey. This is yours. Yeah, that's what Rogue Mama got you for. Yeah. Rogue Mama got her mommy-daughter bracelet. It's so pretty. I wonder what she's looking at. And Flash Fan and Gabby and a couple other people in alternate jurors chat or Discord were yeah. But you saw him from a distance in his backside. You'll never hear his voice, or because he looks at this YouTube stuff and is like, yeah. Can I see it? Should mommy go get hers? We have matching bracelets. But she's not trusted to wear hers on her own yet because I'm afraid she'll break it and it's too pretty. Yeah. Can you say hi? Do you see yourself? Yeah. Yeah. Can we brush your hair again? It looks like you just woke up. Ugh. So will she or won't she speak? That's the there's my baby squid. Baby not in your mouth, please. I'm gonna take it away. And that's when we'll cry and it's like, oh my god, her baby's crying. Cause she yeah, well here's the thing. Like the rest of us seem to have other content, whether it be gaming content, trial coverage, all of that fun stuff. And they don't. They only have one thing. Is her lawyer is telling her, and this one will let TSA check it faster. Fair enough. Like, yeah, considering we've been on the same show at the same time, like, that's like we talked over each other just because of the delay. Thank you. I know. How is she this big? I don't understand. How are you so grown up already? Hmm? Yeah, too late. She wants a new trial. Yeah, laughing in front of. Like, and they call us grifters. It's a funny thing because half the 600 people or 800 reviews do not know about my channel if they hadn't been talking about me. So it's just interesting how I'm grifted. You know, there's everybody's journey. Yeah, we're the grifters, yet they're the ones setting up like GoFundMe's and all of that. And I'm not exactly sure what all has been set up because I don't pay attention. I know. And this is why our hair looks a mess all the time because I brush it and she goes. Yeah, it's too late for a plea deal. She's been convicted. She was convicted back in October. And her lawyer wanted a new trial because of the victim's family being in the courtroom and crying. They should bring in a suitcase with her balloon hanging out of it, Pennywise running the courtroom saying, there you are. Yes, she has pink handcuffs. She's always had pink handcuffs. It's the funniest thing. All she needs is like furry handcuffs and it would just be even more. I didn't see anything, but honestly, I haven't looked. I've been a little sidetracked. I didn't see anything the last time I looked. I think Judge Kraynick basically said no. So I'm saying the over under. I'm setting the over under because you know I like sports betting. Even though I can't really do anything but prize picks in Georgia. At 40 years.
Wow.
Wow. You gonna do your nails? Here. Here you go. Yeah, let's do your nails. See? I promise you hate when I do this, but someday you're gonna pay somebody a lot of money to do this for you. See, and that's the funny thing is if you look at the emails, the first email that Bruce ever sent me, it was he complimented me on my stream for the way I approached things while putting everybody else down. So basically, while insulting everybody else and calling everybody else grifters, he tried to say that he really enjoyed my stream and that it was very analytical and no one's covered it like I did, and I'd be a great commentator if I could do it. Well, Slug, what is your obsession with Legos? And I saw a Legos thing that I wanted. It's Lego Orchids, but I'm pretty sure it's over my ability. But we are getting magnet tiles for Christmas. Oh, speaking of Christmas, I'm sorry. I got to do I'm ordering my sister-in-law and I hope she's not watching, a Stanley Cup, a red scarlet tinsel. And I forgot that it went live at noon and I forgot it. Oh yeah, he attempted to gaslight me. Attempt being the key word. Because, I'm not that easily manipulated. Like, I'm not that. He must think I'm like 10 years old. Hey, Coop. How are you? Come on, let's get this thing started. I can't wait for this. Out of your mouth, please. I'm going to take it away. Thank you. Yeah, Roy, there's ways around it. If you want to rain stream, look at Demolition Ranch. He did a video where he goes over the new YouTube terms of service and what they can and can't do. So she's facing a minimum of 22.5, but I think Florida's an 80% state, so that ends up being like 17. Out of your mouth, thank you. Okay, you're down. You're down. Well, you're the one who got down. Oh my goodness. We have to order. And this is where streaming with a toddler is fun. Because she wants up, she wants down. She wants up, she wants down. She wants up, she wants down. Whoop. Do you want your water? Or do you want mommy's? So I have to, this trial or this crime happened February of 2020. So, yep, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if I leave her down, she cries. And then, that makes me worthy of calling CPS. It's hilarious to me. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I will get it. I'm going to stop my camera for just a second. I got it. I got it. There you go. Oh, no. Oh, no. Nice throw. She threw a wooden ball at me and she actually hit me. She's in need of a nap. I think this judge is over all of Sarah Boone's antics. And I think he's not going to be nice. You're 160 pounds. You must be crazy. Huh. Exactly. This right here. I am looking for. Granola bar. Do you want a granola bar or protein bar? Ugh. And I'm even trying to do better. Organic, non-GMO. So when I say we're trying to do better in this household about chemicals and stuff, we're trying. Okay, hold on. That's Mommy's Stanley cup, but apparently, well, that's Mommy's cup, but apparently it's baby girl's cup now. Okay, here. Look at them dark circles. Like, I don't think that this is going to go like she thinks. See, and Chris, there's a thing about just being around them and being educated on them, because the more knowledge you have, the less scary it is. I've learned that much. We have a pew pew that's as tall as me. So I'm trying to order this Christmas gift before they sell out. So I'm like trying to do two things at once. Huh. And I don't know if I ever monetized this stream. Did I? Okay, I did. Woohoo! So I'm just looking at my Sunday night stream. That got 536 views and 118 likes. Y'all are awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it does or doesn't help, but some people just are around them from a very young age, and it makes it a lot easier and not as scary when you just know what they are. Sunday was hilarious, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. It went a little more unhinged quicker than I thought it would, and it was less about internet being unhinged and more about me just being unhinged. Like, I was told by CPS that the issues you have with toddlers are basically the same issues when they were teens. Poor Squid, you're going to be clowning for a few years to come. Oh, I'm convinced that, yes, I'm glad you made your live stream debut. I'm glad I could get rid of, any fear you have. And Flash Fan, you're great, so never be scared. And you're great. But here's the thing. Like, I just find things way more funny that are probably inappropriate to be funny. But like, I just find things hilarious that probably shouldn't be found hilarious, if you know what I mean. I'm awful like that, so I can't help it. I'm horrible. Yes, 40 people and 37 likes, so we're not. Oh, actually, 45 likes. Oh yes, 45 likes. Monetization is on. We're doing great. This is what I like to do, only I didn't realize that oh, you're fine, Flash Fan. You're great. Like, if a family membership did a local indoor range, it's set up even where my ooh, that's awesome. Here we go to an outdoor range by the nuclear plant. It's free as long as you have a land pass. or a fishing license or hunting license or anything like that. You have to have some sort of pass. Nothing, Hung Hero. They said it was 1:30. The judge isn't even here yet. So I was running late, but apparently I'm not the only one. So, and Sarah looking stylish as ever in her blue prison scrubs and pink handcuffs, where she will be for the rest of her life. You know. And I am in the process of buying a scarlet tinsel tumbler for my my sister-in-law. Darn it. Well, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, this one is at least for rifle. I don't really know about the pistol part because we don't really use that often. We use some land that a friend of mine owned, or a friend of mine's family owned, and we just go to their house and shoot. But we the rifle range is accessible. One of Mr. Squid's work friends has a membership to a club that has a long range rifle range, and I really want to go because we have a Lapua that my dad bought ammo to last year. We actually got our hands on some nice big Lapua 338 rounds, and I would really like to shoot one because I think shooting, a few thousand meters would be really hard but really fun. Like, that just sounds so much fun. And I kind of want to see the kick that this thing has, considering it's taller than me. So, yay! I can't. Papa Squid is not a hunter, but Mr. Squid is. My dad is not a hunter, but some of my other family is. My cousin got his first deer of the season up there. There is, well, yeah, there's a crossbow. Here we go.
Thank you.
I love Judge Kraynick. He's got a yellow tie. See, this is where I should grift. Anybody who's wrong sends $1 super chat, but I'm not going to because that would just be mean. And I'm not that kind of person, but that would be funny because that's what I used to bet my dad as $1 when we go do things. And if I was right, he owed me $1 and vice versa. I don't know. You don't have the other one?
Yeah, go case.
Calling State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603, State.
Oh no.
Dean Cacciatore on behalf of the state. William Jay for the state.
Hold on.
Defense.
Why is
James
this?
Owens for
There we
Sarah.
go.
Ms.
That was
Boone
my
is
fault.
seated at counsel's table. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Ma'am, can you state your full name and date of birth for the record for us?
Boone, 10-10-7-7.
We are here for a sentencing. The jury returned a verdict on October 25, finding you, Ms. Boone, guilty of murder in the second degree. We are running a little bit late this afternoon. I apologize for that. I was in court all morning and took the opportunity to review all of your submittals from earlier this morning, Mr. Owens, including the victim or the character statements, the psychological evaluation by Dr. Harper, the motion for downward departure, the motion for new trial, and the state's response to same. Before we proceed with any sentencing in this matter, the court needs to address the defendant's motion for new trial and the state's response to the defendant's motion for new trial. Anything in addition you'd like to argue at this time, Mr. Owens, over and above what is contained in your motion, sir?
No, sir.
State.
No, sir.
All right. After reviewing the motion and the state's response to same, the defendant's motion for a new trial is denied. Based on the court's review of the record, the court's participation in the trial, and the review of all the evidence, and the court's prior findings and rulings at trial and prior thereto. With that, I believe that we're prepared to proceed with sentencing at this time. The court has reviewed the pre-sentencing investigation prepared by the Department of Corrections. Are there any housekeeping matters that we need to address, Mr. Jay or Mr. Cacciatore, before we proceed?
Not from the state.
Are there any housekeeping matters from your side of the ledger, sir, that we need to address, Mr. Owens?
Judge, I do
Yeah,
have
but he always has something to say.
4 lay witnesses that are going to testify. Dr. Harper is testifying. One of the 4 lay witnesses wants to appear by Zoom. She lives up in Minnesota. I don't know if that's allowed.
We don't have an objection to that. One of our witnesses will be providing an impact statement would also like to appear on the court's virtual link as well.
Okay, so stipulated. If you need it, just let Anita know, and I can have her email it to you right now, the link.
We do have the link. She's waiting to get on, I guess.
Who might it be, sir? Several people.
It should be Lana Albert.
She is here, sir. She's in the, she's viewing, her camera's off and she's, microphone is muted, but she's in the lobby. All right, with that, State, you may proceed.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to take an impact statement from, I believe, Anna Torres, who she will be appearing virtually.
I see several guests, but I do not see a Anna Torres in the virtual lobby, sir.
Well, I think while maybe she's having some issue logging on, we have also in-person witnesses.
We can proceed with those first, sir. Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us? Okay. Ma'am, you can go ahead.
I think that's his mom.
I just want to tell Sarah Boone that I don't hate her for what she did.
But she's a better woman than me.
And I always remember that evening when that lady came into my door and she knocked at the door. She asked for my name. I tell her my name. And then she said, can I come in? I said, okay, yes. And she told me to sit down. I never think that was gonna be my son. And then she said my son was dead. Since that day, I can sleep. It's hard for me to remember that moment. My son is not here no more. She don't only kill my son, she killed a father, a brother, an uncle. It's been hard. I'm a family because all the brothers, they will always work together. But now it's like something real. Love is missing. Sometimes when I look out the window, I'm waiting for him to come and say, Mom, I love you. She was always there. She come and call me. I miss that mommy. The last time that I talked to him was at 12 o'clock in January, New Year. He came to my bed and said, Mom. He woke me up and I said, Mom, I love you. Happy New Year. And since that day, I don't see him no more. You know, my son, I love him. And I miss him a lot. My family miss him a lot too. But I don't hear. But you know what? I was blessed. She ain't gonna be blessed like me because I have my son. I raised him. I have his children, my granddaughter, my grandson, and she don't gonna be able to have that. And I did. I raised him. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good son. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. State anything further from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you. You may call your next victim impact statement.
Jorge Torres.
I do.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Victoria Torres. My name is Victoria Torres. George is my brother. Unfortunately, my family has experienced two horrifying tragedies. I just want to make it clear that George deserves justice. As far as my other brother and Sarah deserve to rot in jail. Sarah has caused a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of horrible images, a lifetime of hearing my brother George plead for his life. This is just this moment for all of you. For me and my family, it's forever. such a simple thing as using a suitcase is so triggering. I try not to close it all the way and leave at least like 2 or 3 inches for the zipper. And it might sound crazy, but it just helps me. She really has flipped my family's life upside down. And I just hope that we can truly get justice for my brother. And I just want to tell the team, thank you so much for everything they did. Thank you.
Thank you. State anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense? Thank you.
Your Honor, could we see if Ms. Anna Torres is able to make it online?
Do not see an Anna Torres in the lobby, sir. I have lots of guests, HHSA, Mr. Beck, Lana Albert, Jason Gunn.
Your Honor, is there a cap to the link as to the number of individuals?
Not to my knowledge.
Could we just have just a moment?
Yes.
Sorry I was gone for so long. The little decided that she wanted to try to sit down on the big girl, you know, during a diaper change. She wanted to go sit on the toilet like a big girl. We're getting closer. I don't know about y'all, but potty training scares the ever-loving crap out of me. The problem, the Wilburns, is she didn't want to get up. She didn't go, but she didn't want to get up. And she was just sitting there. And so when I made her get up and I put a new diaper on her, she was not happy with me. So we were sitting here for a minute with her screaming at me. I'm sorry. We just opened the package the rest of the way. Here. Here, baby. Here you go. Yeah, Jen, they tried to, Sarah had no defense. So they tried to do anything they could to, bring, like, that would be amazing. We've had everything for a while. I have 2 things. I have like a potty chair for her, and then I have something that actually like goes on the real toilet with like step stool and stuff, which I hope to use because that's cleaner. I don't have to empty a commode, so to speak. But I got both, so whatever she wants to use. But I'm not trying to rush her either because rushing her is just going to make it harder and worse. And like, I'm kind of doing the Montessori approach where when she shows me she's ready. So by her going into the bathroom and flipping up the toilet lid, I'm like, okay, let's sit. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, she's only 2, so I know between 2.5 and 3.5 is the optimum time, but she's not even 2.5 yet. So, yeah. I don't want to do that because I babysat for a kid who was like 6 years old and still sat backwards on the toilet. It was just creepy and messy. But she's fine with sitting there. You know, I kind of want to get pull-ups for for her, but I kind of don't. Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm like not forcing her into anything, because they, you know, she's like her dad. If you try like rolling over, things like that, sitting up, walking, she could do it, but she didn't want to. And the more you try, she's like her father. The more you try to push her into doing something, the less she wants to do it, if you know what I mean. So I just let her kind of show me when she's ready and let her lead the way. I have everything ready
Yes,
to
sir,
go
Mr.
for when
Castore.
she is.
Your Honor, after speaking with Mr. Owens, given the fact that the victim's daughter is having difficulties with.
Is that her, Anna Victoria Torres?
Yes, sir.
Is that it? Is that who it is? All right, ma'am, good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Okay, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Anna Victoria Torres, ANAVICTORIATORRES.
Thank you, ma'am. I understand that you'd like to provide a statement to the court at this time. You may proceed.
Okay. Okay. So I'll be speaking for myself and my two siblings. The murder of our father has impacted us on so many levels and in different ways. I myself, for the first year, would wake up screaming every morning or night, wishing I was having a nightmare, only to wake up to remember all over again that my father is gone and I'll never be able to hear him say he loves me ever again. To know my siblings have been affected in such a way that they are now different. They have had a piece of their heart ripped away from them, all while her son gets to hear his mother's voice and see her alive is pathetic. Because of you, Sarah, my sister is heartbroken. Because of you, Sarah, my brother is left wondering when he will ever see his father again. The loss of my father has left me with chronic depression and anxiety. Seeing any moments of fatherly love or kindness being shown between others in real life or even on TV leaves me in complete shambles. Seeking therapy was a must in order to navigate through my workday without a random breakdown. Thoughts of my father's demise still enter my mind ever so often. I'm left either angry, sad, or sick to my stomach to think of how his final moments were. Jorge Torres, my incredible father. Not only was he my father, but my best friend. My personal comic provided me with wisdom and knowledge, creative and loving dad, an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a son, and above all, our father. He was human and deserved to be treated as such. My father, Jorge Torres, was one of a kind, an absolute gem. Unfortunately, his light was dimmed on earth by evilness, but with us, we will forever make his name live on. Especially Sarah, I pray that you see his face when you see him at night. That is it.
Thank you. Anything further, state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. State,
Thank you.
anything further?
No other impact statements, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witnesses or evidence at this point in time, state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Owens, you may proceed, sir.
Ms. Diane Smith.
And you know that baby squid has
Judge, what do you want?
some sort of will that I don't have.
I have no issue with her being at the podium. If that's,
Well,
if you want to move about the well to
I
conduct
know.
your examination, that's fine, counsel.
And that's why I'm not upset about
Ma'am,
it,
come on
because
up.
it's not going to change anything. Me being upset is
Come
just
on
a
up to this
waste of
podium
my
right here,
time and
ma'am. If you
energy.
could raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Diane Smith, DIANESMITH.
Okay, thank you very much. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Ms. Smith, tell the court a little bit about you.
I was a chaplain at the 33rd Street Jail for 30 years.
And have you been a chaplain at the jail here in Orange County?
Yes, Orange County Jail
Is it the same
for
jail
30
you're
years.
referring to? And during that period of time, did you have occasion to meet with Sarah Boone?
I did.
And was it over the course of how long?
I've known her 4 years.
And if you could tell the court what you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, I first met Sarah. She came in, we have a Christian dorm, and Sarah enrolled in our Christian program. And she was in my classes for a year. And she was very sincere in her efforts to change her life and to be a better person. And I found her very helpful. She was kind and good to people. She loved to serve. And she helped the new girls that would come in, the younger girls. She would mother them and be very kind and very helpful. And then after she graduated from the program, I was her counselor for the other 3 years. And I always found her, very sincere and, trying to do better. I spoke with many inmates that knew her and was associated with her. And they spoke very highly of her and said that, she was helpful and kind and tried to help other people. And I just found her to be, very sincere and trying to be a very good person and change and help people.
Was the Bible involved at all?
Oh, yes, it was all spiritual. Yes, it was spiritual growth plus character, growth and character, trying to just be a better person in general. She liked to serve other people, she would help the girls wash their clothes and show them around and teach. But spiritually, she grew very, very great spiritually.
Yeah.
Hang
Do you
on,
ever
just
think
one
she
second.
can lie?
Hang on just one
Manipulate?
second, Ms. Smith. State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
I'd like to call Christina Pena.
Right there.
Yeah, it's fine, Counselor. Thank you.
And I do love the new name. I don't remember where that came from, but it's hilarious.
Ma'am, come on up if you can. Raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth.
No. Okay.
Ma'am, if you could state and spell your name for the record for us.
Christina Pena, Christina Pena.
All right, you may inquire, sir.
How old are you?
31,
And what do you do?
Orlando.
Now, it's my understanding, Ms. Pena, that you were in the county jail with Sarah Boone.
Yes.
How long were y'all in the same cell together?
Yes. About I was in there for 4 years, but we were together for 3.
And I understand ultimately the charges against you were dismissed. And so you were released on what day?
April 4th this year.
2023.
2023.
2023. So you've been out for a pretty while.
I was her cellmate.
6
Oh, thank
or
you.
so months. Yeah, since April of this year, actually. Sorry.
April of 2023. And
Cause-
you said y'all were bunkmates there together for about 3 years.
Because he's weird.
That y'all got to know each other pretty well.
We did.
And if you could, if you'd like to speak on her behalf, the judge.
Sarah's one of my best friends, my only.
Oh, yeah, one of your only friends. Friends like that who needs enemies.
She's helped me a lot. Spiritually and like growing and
Very good point. Technically, she's not a criminal. Her
she
charges
helps
were dropped.
everybody.
So-
She's always,
She was temporary.
I don't know, spirit. She helped me a
So-
lot, and we
No,
she would
never
come to
convicted
me
of
and she'd
anything.
talk to me all the
Not a
time
criminal.
and pick me up when I was down, or if I didn't know something, she just good. I don't know. She was a good person to me. She just mistakes happen. She always helped. She always helped people. She was always helping everybody in the dorm. She even like
It's because she
her
thinks she
artwork,
knows
she
everything.
did
Okay, I have to
Her,
pause this for just a second.
if anybody needed any help or needed anything, they'd come to
This-
her and they'd help.
This is not because Sarah's a good person. This is because Sarah thinks she knows everything. There's a difference. When she thinks she knows everything, she can tell other people what to do because she knows everything.
She'd help them. Even if they, did wrong to her, she would still go back and help them and praise with them and pray over them and everything. It's just
And was she a little bit older than you?
Yeah.
How much older was she? Did you think of her as maybe an aunt or a big sister? What
A
was?
big sister, yeah, she was like a big sister, like a sister I never had. Because I have brothers, so I never, we clicked right away. I don't know. We'd be walking out in the backyard and she just would always try and talk to me, but I'm a quiet person and I don't trust a lot of people. So for me to open up and trust somebody, it's a lot. So.
And obviously y'all were there under difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
She assist you in getting through that?
Yes, and she helped me a lot with my my case, and I would help her with with hers too. We're both. Justice is not what it is. I don't know how.
Bless you.
We both helped each other out. I don't know.
Ms. Danielle, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Ms. Hill?
I can't wait till I never have to hear
Yes, sir.
James Owens' voice again.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping this is the last time.
Please raise your right hand. Just want to swear or affirm testimony about to be able to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
My name is Mariela Hill, Mariela, last name Hill, Hill.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Ms. Hill, briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
I met Sarah in jail. I spent 3 months in jail and went through a lot of unfortunate circumstances myself.
All right, now this was in the Orange County Jail here in Orlando?
Orange County Jail.
And when would that have been?
I
Yes,
screwed myself, didn't I?
from April to June of this year.
Of this year?
Last fan and wrote Mama, you're thinking alike.
And
Where's
did
your
you
mama?
develop a relationship with Sarah Boone over the course of that 3 months?
Yes, yes. We met when I was moved to the B dorm, and I needed help with a form that I needed to complete, and one of the COs pointed to Sarah to help me out. And since that moment, we became really good friends, and she was so helpful, so kind, so respectful, and loving, not just to me, but to everyone. And I have nothing but good things to say about her, her character, her loving heart, and how deep her faith is, her faith in God, and believing in justice for everyone.
State any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hill. I appreciate it. Ms. Albert, good afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me? This is Judge Kraynick, and if you can, I would ask you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself at this time, please.
Sir, how do I unmute turn on my camera? I know how to unmute, but I'm not sure how to turn the camera on.
Turn the volume down.
So, ma'am,
Is that better?
when you join the link, there should have been an option for like a pull down on the left-hand side of the screen for you to open out or turn on a camera. I don't know what device you're appearing on, if it's a cell phone or a laptop.
It is an iPhone. Should I try to re-enter the room?
Yeah, try to do that. There should be an option for
Turn your volume down.
pick a camera.
I think it is a
select
dude.
the default camera, and hopefully we'll be able to see you at that time.
Okay, let me just give me 1 second.
Hey, did your pad die? Yeah. Did your iPad? Oh no, you locked yourself out. 1 minute. Come on, come here. She locked herself out of her pad, and we can't open it for 1 more minute. Yeah, positional asphyxiation, but he also had like a bruised orbital bone. So that's what I'm saying.
Did that work? Can you see me?
Nope.
I cannot.
Shoot.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, it's saying default camera. It's saying front camera. I chose it. It didn't show my face or anything like that.
Hey.
My technological skills are limited.
I mean, he is a judge. I mean, I can't say anything. My technological skills are limited too.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, Miss Albert, good afternoon. If you could just state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Certainly. Lana, Lana, Albert, Albert.
All right, Mr. Owens is going to ask you some questions. And if you could just answer them, ma'am.
I would really like to see this person's face.
Miss Albert, do you have the ability to turn your volume down?
Yes, I just did. I can't hear you very well when I do that, though.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but very, very quietly.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I okay?
Yeah, you sound a lot better. You were too loud earlier.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right, Miss Albert.
I have no idea.
A little bit about yourself, briefly.
Well, I live in Minnesota. I currently have end-stage renal disease. Before I became disabled, I was a business owner in the Twin Cities here.
All right, and how old are you?
I am 50 years old.
All right, and you're considered disabled?
Yes, I am.
All right, and have you had an occasion since this event to establish a relationship with Sarah Boone?
Yes, I have. We have been friends for the past a little over 11 months.
Oh, so basically since she killed somebody.
We've communicated a lot of phone calls, lots of tablet back and forth, and a lot of letters as well.
Why do you
I'd say many hours of time spent with each other.
All right, and do you want to speak on her behalf here today?
I would, please.
All right, would you please tell the court what you would like for the court to know?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Your Honor, for the privilege of speaking on behalf of my friend, Sarah Boone. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to everyone here affected by this terrible tragedy, which has brought us all here and listening in. Many articles and videos and opinions of Sarah have gone out in the airways and on the webs. Opinions that have been formed and commented on so much that it's hard not to give into the temptation to treat people like a comic book or a fictional character. In the case of my friend Sarah, the words narcissist, Karen, villain, many other things, they roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly. And under a lot of circumstances, I was one of those people, as I have a love of true crime. And becoming friends with Sarah has shown me that there's a lot more depth to the people I see on the screen. I'd like to share with the world and with the court about the Sarah Boone that I know. Sarah Boone is a kind, honest, and good person. The Sarah Boone I know is one who loves animals, especially the kind who are damaged and defenseless.
Yeah.
How many of us would take in poor love?
Sorry. So much to say, especially the ones that are damaged and defenseless, like George. Like George. You remember, look at the picture on my thumbnail. That is George cowered down while she is yelling at him, defenseless. Like, damaged and defenseless by this woman. Oh my God, this has to be a freaking joke.
For a hearing impaired and a sight impaired pair of dogs. She has a natural instinct to help reach out and give of herself. Her time and energy and love, especially to those who are hurting or damaged. You all have seen her fight for her own life and truth here. I tell you this, she fights even harder for those she loves, giving time, attention, and companionship without a single thought for her own gain or what somebody can do for her. And one huge example is in the matter of our friendship.
I feel like his mom.
As I said before, I have
Like,
end-stage renal disease
I don't want
caused
to
by
take
a
anything
genetic
away
illness
from.
called polycystic kidney.
I don't want to take anything away from George's mom, but this is her look right now, like, oh my God, is this happening? I feel you. I can't. Oh my God.
Kidney disease. As my life has progressed, things I have taken for granted have been taken away from me. I could not appear in court in person because I can no longer walk, as my dialysis treatments have affected the circulation of my legs and has confined me to a wheelchair. To say that my life has radically changed is an understatement.
Prison pen pal.
Through it all, I have many friends and family I love and cherish. Sarah has distinguished herself differently in this way. In the course of getting to know her, I started sharing the progressing state of my health. It was like lightning had struck her. The moment Sarah had learned the depth of my struggles health-wise, she straight up offered strenuously to donate a kidney to me. I got to tell you this. I hope she's not mad for me showing this, but she had no hesitation, no concern over personal risk or personal gain. I want to convey to this, out and around the world, that is merely offering is a good and heroic act. I've had many friends. I've not had one outside of my brother who has offered me a kidney. That is huge. I don't have anything of equal value to give to her.
I would really like to see
And
this
that's
person's
not
face.
the actions of a narcissist. She did it as a reflex action, as a good person. After the verdict came in October, we spoke that night. And I hope Sarah doesn't get mad at me again for disclosing this, but out of all the
If he gets
shock
mad
and
at you, it doesn't
seriousness
mean
of what
anything.
had happened in the court, the thing that made her emotionally break was that she realized she could no longer be a donor to me. I mean, I was sitting there like, hey, you know, it's going to be okay. But she was so broken up, she couldn't help me. That's a friend. She is not, nor does she come up anywhere remotely close to being a narcissist. Now, one more thing before I go. Social media has worked to rip the blindfold off of Lady Justice, to take the sword out of her right hand and start assassinating Sarah's character.
Sarah doesn't have a
However,
character
the
to
scales
assassinate.
are the balance. As it says in Psalm 85, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Justice isn't justice without mercy. Our pursuit of righteousness isn't complete and right without peace. Thank you, Your Honor, for the honor of speaking for my friend Sarah Boone. I hope that your justice is mixed with mercy here today. Thank you.
And why did he think this was a good idea?
No, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Albert. I appreciate you.
Like to call Dr. Harper. You want her on the stand or?
Hold on.
I'm okay with her on the stand.
On the stand?
No, she can be right now. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to see Kevin.
Judge,
No, she'd be at the podium. That's fine.
I don't understand why Dr. Harper is here.
Doctor, good afternoon. If you could please raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in. If you could, doctor, state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Dr. Julie Harper, Julieharper.
All right, thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Dr. Harper, we all know we were here a few weeks back for the trial, and your testimonies that the judges quite a bit about your testimony. But if you could, I know that you prepared a report, and we have submitted that to the court. This report is read, so they have a copy. And I don't know if you want to refer to that or just speak on all about Sarah Boone, what she did to assess her.
I think that during trial testimony, I reviewed all of the documents, excuse me, and all of the records that were available. They're documented in my report as well. In addition to the forensic clinical interviews that I conducted, I also have had the opportunity to talk to her brother, Philip Paulson, in the interim since the trial, and I included his information in my report as to her family background.
If you could, give the court a synopsis of what covered maybe from the brother, whatever you think the court needs to hear this relevant material to.
I like to be different and think outside the box, but this is just ridiculous.
So referring to the summary section of my report, I'll keep it a brief, but I'll outline the highlights that I feel like haven't been conveyed before, which is an understanding of Ms. Boone's early family life, in that she is the middle child of her parents' union, and that her parents did not have a happy marriage. They didn't provide an opportunity to have a good role model as to how to have a partnership together. Ms. Boone was born in close proximity to her youngest brother, 11 months apart. And in my clinical experience and training, I would say that that disrupted her attachment with her mother, some being close in proximity with her younger brother, whose temperament just seemed to suit a relationship with her mother better than her own. So ultimately, Ms. Boone bonded with her father, though he wasn't described by either child as an affectionate person. He was somebody that was there for her at sporting events and more of a primary parent for her in that way. His untimely death by heart attack during her high school years was marked by her brother as a turning point for her in how she was acting at home, her demeanor, her relationship with her mother took a turn for the worse. She was not coping well. She was using substances based on what her brother was saying. And it is my opinion that that early lack of foundational relations with her mom and not feeling very secure, the death of her father, destabilized her. That's a period of your life when you're leaving high school, when you should have formed a very solid foundation to go out in the world. And I don't think that that's what she had at that moment. She bonded easily with Mr. Boone, and you can see that there are elements of that early difficulty with her relationships because she took on a parentified role, in my opinion, during that relationship. And therefore, there's a power imbalance in that she was making decisions and not, again, having an equal relationship. I think that that led her to a sense of being a need to be right, a need to feel like she is the one that's making good decisions, to have some ego support by being in the right all the time with Mr. Boone. And I think that that led to some behaviors that she carried over into her relationship with Mr. Torres, in that she's parentified around him and acting more like a parent-child relationship, being a facilitator of housing and applications for jobs and things like that. So again, there's a power imbalance that I think was very seriously misaligned, as her brother and the property manager of their apartment had verified. They saw her being abused, physically abused in serious ways, or the effects of the abuse in bruising or calls to them. It is my opinion that she called for help, but when people got tired of her not leaving Mr. Torres, they stopped responding to those calls. And basically, Ms. Boone handled things on her own. And as other people with healthier boundaries probably would have left, she being acting out the pattern of intimate partner violence did not leave. She stayed long past when it would have been smart for others, or others would have said to leave, sorry. The undergirding of that not leaving the relationship is a long-term anxiety problem that became post-traumatic stress disorder. There is an earlier instance of exposure to traumatic stress in that she was the person in the hospital after her father died who found him having students perform CPR on his dead body. So that was an early exposure to high traumatic stress, witnessing that incident. And based on her brother's description, that was something that changed her. When a person is exposed to numerous compounding stressors, their adrenaline system is changed. It alters your body. And things that might be an otherwise neutral situation, you tend to have a cascading adrenaline response to that. And I think that that ultimately for her, as she succumbed to other instances of serious physical abuse from her partner became post-traumatic stress disorder. I do think that that is a condition that is still existent even while she's in jail. It's something that she needs treatment for because those triggers are unmitigated, meaning that she hasn't really had the kind of therapy to address them and reduce her adrenaline and anxiety responses when she thinks of past instances of traumatic events that have happened to her. You can also respond to post-traumatic stress disorder clinically by using antidepressant therapy, and that would be something that could assist her ultimately in reducing symptoms if she had counseling and antidepressant therapy.
Now, Dr. Harper, I believe you testified the trial that in your opinion she suffered as a adult spouse syndrome that is legally recognized in Florida, in the courts of Florida.
That's correct.
And I understand that that is tied to this intimate partner violence, which is maybe the same thing, but there are complex mental health issues that can you speak on the complexity of that whole cycle?
They're trying to retry the case.
Certainly. So intimate partner violence is not a diagnosis. It's a pattern of events that occur between two partners in which the power dynamic is altered by the physical abuse or behaviors that are controlling in nature to the point that someone's safety is threatened. It's common for victims of that to have a complex mental health condition, often including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse problems. And what might be substance abuse to cope with the problem, like numbing oneself, will sometimes result in its own diagnosis. The pattern of
Didn't have a substance abuse issue to cope.
Just in summary about that, there are phases in which at first bonding of the two partners might be something positive. They've got something in common or have pleasurable time together.
She did testify in the trial. She's testifying again.
Dynamic and some kind of traumatic event occurs, some instance of physical violence, and then there's a third phase in which it's like a honeymoon phase where they're trying to right the relationship. So in phase one, when they're having something pleasurable, the tone shifts. Phase two, there is some kind of incident.
I honestly don't know, but I would if I were the judge.
As that pertains to anxiety, I think that
this is not appropriate for sentencing. This is appropriate for the trial, which she already testified to all this, and the jury, the finder of fact, found her testimony bullshit. So the fact that she's trying to retestify is, I agree, Roy. I would sanction Owens for this crap, because this right here, this.
That a person who suffers from intimate partner violence never stops experiencing that hypervigilance, waiting for the next instance of violence to occur. So even though they may look happy, they might be experiencing something positive, they've not really relaxed because their memory that could or will occur again is still in their mind. So they haven't fully stopped experiencing intimate partner violence. It's just what phase of the process they're in.
This is just hurting the victim's family.
Which I supplied to the court, which is a total of 11 pages, and I believe that's confidential.
That's what's been marked. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file. If it has, that's something if it needs to be, it's something we can address. I have reviewed it. It does reflect confidential privilege information on the first page. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file unless you did it. Okay. It already has been? All right, appreciate it. Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir.
And Dr. Harper, you're aware that the defense has filed a defendant's motion for bail departure.
Yes.
And we listed several factors under paragraph 3, the capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions performed, the requirements of law were substantially impaired, that she requires specialized treatment for a mental
That's a very good
disorder
point.
that's not related to substance use or addiction, although you agree that she does suffer from alcohol use disorder.
So she has an underlying mental health disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I additionally diagnosed her with alcohol use disorder, which is separate.
But you agree she does require specialized treatment for a mental disorder that's not related to the substance use? or
Judge
addiction?
Kraynick looks like he's over it.
You agree she's amenable for treatment?
Yes.
I think he's still not going to put a stop to it for appeal purposes, but
Yes.
And you agree that the uniqueness of the circumstances, the facts and circumstances surrounding the case, that the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner?
Yes.
And it was isolated.
That's my understanding as well. That
Other than she had the charge, which she was, both of them were charged at one time. I think she had the strangulation allegation, the felony case that was ultimately dismissed when both of them were arrested.
she had a prior felony case. Facts are different, of course, than this particular case over here today.
Dr. Harper, I believe that's all the questions I've got, unless you would like to say if I've missed anything, of course.
No,
Okay, and if not, it's in the report.
yes.
Any questions?
Yes, can she take a stand so I can do the voting?
Yes, that's fine.
this should be interesting. Come on, Jay. Get him, Jay.
You may inquire, sir.
In pages 1 and 2 of your report, you go through the sources of your information, correct?
Yes.
And that would include 8 interviews that you had with her from the course of August of 2020 through September of 2024, correct?
There were 9 interviews, but 8 dates of service are listed.
You did the Miller Forensic Assessment of Symptoms Test, or MFAST,
That's right.
Inventory of Legal Knowledge, ILK,
That's right.
Clinician Administered PTSD Scale 5 examination.
Yes.
You consulted with her attorney.
Yes.
Videotaped interviews from this court case number of Sarah Boone, interview part 1 and 2, Abraham Moreno interview, Brandon Moats interview, Brian Boone interview, Juan Torres interview, and Melissa Sexton interview, correct?
Yes.
You reviewed the autopsy photos.
Yes.
You reviewed some of the digital forensic exhibits, including the Apple iPhone XS and a Samsung SMJ 327 T1 photographs from those 2 devices.
Yes.
You reviewed Bates stamped discovery pages 1 through 413.
That's correct.
The crime scene photos are photos of a scene taken on June 19th of 2020.
Yes.
Aspire Health records.
Yes.
And who do those pertain to?
Aspire Health records are for Sarah Boone.
Florida Hospital Medical Group records.
Yes.
And who do those records pertain to?
That is also for Sarah Boone.
And Aspire, is that a mental health treatment facility?
It has an emergency department record, but that would be the place where she was detained under the Baker Act.
And it is routine and common in the practice of forensic psychology or psychiatry to rely on the records of other such practitioners.
As a source of information, sure.
You reviewed the deposition of Dr. Tanya Warner.
I did.
You reviewed the trial testimony of Sarah Boone, Brian Boone, Dr. Michael Brannon, Dr. Tanya Werner, correct?
Yes.
The jury verdict form dated 10/25/24.
Yes.
Witness list notice of filing amended
Yes.
on this case. Records of Jorge Torres or George Torres involving case numbers 2019 MM 511.
he's basically going to say you looked through all of this and that doesn't give you an excuse to unalive someone.
Case 2019 MM 7193 Torres Public Records. Case 2019 MM 7193 Torres Photos. Central Florida Primary Care Records. Advent Health Orlando Medical Records, correct? And those latter records that I just mentioned, those for Mr. Torres and not Ms. Boone, correct?
That's right.
Then you reviewed Sarah Boone written correspondence, Sarah's listing of domestic violence incidents, Sarah's writings regarding missing days of work and Baker Act, and a 74-page life story.
That's right.
And then case 2018 CF 10573, public records and photos.
You want your pad down here?
And a telephone interview with Melissa Sexton, the property manager, which you conducted on October 1st, 2024.
Yes.
And a telephonic interview with Philip Paulson, the defendant's brother, on November 26, 2024. Where has Ms. Boone been housed and living since February of 2020?
Orange County Jail.
And does the Orange County Jail provide mental health services to inmates?
It does.
And you already testified you would routinely, as a forensic psychologist, review records kept of a psychological or psychiatric treatment of a patient or a client, correct?
Yes.
In this particular case, have you reviewed any mental health records generated by the Orange County Jail for Ms. Boone?
No, I have not had
But
that.
she hasn't seen anybody.
So for the last 58 months or so, if she was being seen by the mental health treatment staff at the jail, you have not reviewed those records.
That's correct.
And they are overseen at the jail, in the Orange County Jail, by a psychiatrist. Are you aware or not?
If the person's level of mental health intervention deems them eligible for psychiatry, then they will.
And any diagnosis or lack of diagnosis that they have had during the course of the last 58 months, you are unaware of because you did not review the records.
That's right.
I don't have any other questions.
If she really had mental health issues, you would be
No,
seen
no, Judge.
the last 58 months.
One question. Dr. Harper, I didn't ask you to review those records, did I?
No.
Why not?
Thank you.
Why not? If they existed, why not?
Judge, I believe you said it at the very beginning that I had submitted several letters on behalf of Ms. Boone, and she didn't hear that, but I wanted her to be made aware.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you don't actually read those letters into the record, but you did read them.
I have reviewed them. They're in my binder here.
That's a big old binder of
How many
paper.
do I have? Yes. Give me a second. I can tell you. I have. I have 6 handwritten letters. First one is 1 page. Second one is 2 pages. Third one is 1 page. Fourth one is 2 pages. Fifth one is 2 pages. Sixth one is 2 pages. I have a typed letter from Diane Smith, the assistant chaplain.
Sweet.
I have another typed letter from a
Hey, General.
Nicole Ray, a typed letter from a Stephanie L, a typed letter from Philip Paulson, a email from Lana Albert, 2 pages in length, and a 2-page email from a Danielle Parsons.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I would like to call Sarah Boone.
You may proceed.
Ooh,
Take this.
Yes, please.
she gonna talk. You're a convicted murderer. You don't get to walk on your own anymore.
Ms. Boone, you could be seated. You've been previously sworn. You may inquire, sir.
A bunch of BS.
For the record, just state your name again.
Sarah Boone.
Now, this is unlike a trial, so you're allowed to
Lie.
speak in a narrative form, as well as I understand you have taken some notes or written a letter that you want to read from, and then you want to speak to the court after that.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and get started?
This is actually an edited version of. I had a lot to say. I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I didn't really know
And I still
how
don't
to
feel
put it
bad.
on paper. And I didn't know how much I could say or how little I should say. So what I have here is, like I said, an edited version. But I would like to read the more important parts.
Mama duties.
that I feel that everyone should know that wasn't said in my actual trial. And on top of what I have on paper, I have, this is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. So I wanted to read this, and then if I may, I would like to address everyone in my apology on top of my statement.
You may proceed, ma'am.
Kintu Sukuroi is a kind of Japanese ceramic style which means to repair with gold. In this tradition, when a ceramic piece breaks, an artisan will fuse the pieces back together again using liquid gold or gold dust lacquer. So rather than being covered up, the breaks become more obvious and a brilliant new piece of art emerges from the brokenness. It embraces flaws, weakness, and imperfections, and also teaches the essence of resilience. Every crack in a ceramic piece is a part of its history, and each piece becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. This is the wisdom of Kintu Sukuroi. In my wisdom and with all of my repairs, then, now, and ongoing, God is, has been, and will always be my artisan. All of my gold is forgiveness. This has held me together, made me shine brighter, and overcome the damage caused by Jorge Torres, the Torres family, the justice system, Orange County Corrections Department, social media, scoundrel detectives, infamy, defamation, ongoing constitutional rights violations, second-degree murder, forced into being pro se. Just as gold is very precious, forgiveness is invaluable. Forgiveness is not an attempt to change or forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion to be set free from sorrow. Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache, irreparable cracks on top of the already that no one deserves, no matter the pain or disappointment, untruths or injustice. It doesn't matter, as the more broken you are, even though now different than before, you've become more outstanding and more extraordinary. Above all, when you let go of blame, misunderstandings, excuses, give up your anger and cease from resentment, this is forgiven. And when you forgive, you heal. And when you heal, you move forward. My goal begins with Jorge Torres, and every time he slapped me, kicked, punched, spit on, raped, stabbed, choked, laughed at, pushed, pulled, dragged, whipped, tripped, stole from, lied, terrorized, threatened, humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry. Every time he tried to end me, defeat, or destroy. I forgive George for beating me senseless, for trying to sleep because I had to go to work or my son's field trip the next day, for ruining my deceased family's heirlooms, traditions, and keepsakes, my son's furniture, destroying the television we watched together, for wrecking our townhome by breaking windows, punching holes in the walls and doors, ramming his entire body into glass doors, kicking in my front and back door over and over and over, for breaking or removing the locks from all of the doors and sometimes the knobs altogether, so I had nowhere to feel safe, including the sacred space of my son's room where he beat me bloody on his bed. For terrorizing and threatening my blind and deaf dogs by leaving the gate open I built to keep them safe, telling me he hoped I'd find their bloated dead body in the pond or scrape their remains off of the pavement, for kicking them off of the bed and throwing across the room because they were trying to protect me.
Does anyone actually believe that?
For threatening to make me unrecognizable to my son by breaking all of the bones in my face, like his brother Moses did to him after he kept seeing all of the bruises from George beating me, like all of the times their father beat their mother. For all of the drunken rages and fist fights with so many neighbors when wandering into their apartments during hunting expeditions after I had escaped. For drowning me in liquor and wine because I didn't want to drink, causing me to urinate on myself, then butting the end of the bottle in my face, giving me 2 black eyes and a bloody nose. For making me experience what it is to be sodomized. Threatening to kill my friends and the neighbors when they checked on me to make sure I was alive and in one piece. For threatening to burn down our townhome and set my car on fire because I got a job. For holding me hostage on weekends my son was supposed to come over by keeping my keys around his neck, my phone in his crotch, and a butcher knife stuck in the middle of the table as a warning not to ask anything or try to leave. For stabbing me in the leg and not letting me call 911 for an ambulance or seek help, where I nearly bled to death until I concocted a lie to save him from being arrested.
You didn't nearly bleed to
For
death.
destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. For me experiencing ever being arrested and after today, prison. For beating me almost blind, crushing my occipital lobe. For having me experience what it means to see stars, like in the cartoons, where a character has a tall lump on their head. I had that too, and many times. For dragging me downstairs by my hair in the middle of the night just to sit next to him. For taking my car driving drunk with my debit card to buy more alcohol while I slept, even after I kindly explained the importance of my car to take my son to school foremost, me to work, and he to his batterers intervention classes and probation officer meetings, where I would be forced to sit for hours in the parking lot waiting for him. For
Sarah,
causing me
we don't
so much
believe it.
trauma and pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, I had to be hospitalized more than once. For destroying my reputation and integrity, for my M for murderer scarlet letter, not letting me feel safe to live, talk to other people, spend time with my son, have a job, friendships, simply go to the bathroom with the door closed, or go to sleep soundly or comfortably. I forgive George for lying, for him trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love. I also forgive the Torres family, his mother and father foremost, also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing who George was, capable of, and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it,
His
meant to
mother
keep
is
turning a
probably
blind eye
like
when I
wanting
would
to
ask for help.
punch this.
All of his siblings, including Pharrell Torres, who is now on his way to prison for stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of her head. For everyone who knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled. I forgive them for caring too late. I hope they all ask themselves while quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the time Sarah tried to, by asking for help from all of us and so many times. Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole, and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate, conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social media, which condemned me in the court of global public opinion since the beginning.
Girl.
My family law case is the new prey waiting to be picked apart and pillaged from me being made infamous by social media and my criminal case. It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages, especially by broadcasting and manipulating my cases online. In my criminal case, as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair...
Bitch. Your trial was not on social media. I mean, it was, but your trial was in a courtroom with impartial jurors that your lawyer approved of. Nobody bought your bullshit. No one bought it. Sarah, no one buys your bullshit then, no one buys your bullshit now. Shut up.
Their proper and uninfluenced successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, all of the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make themselves seem so right by making me appear so wrong. Forgiveness for prejudgment, ridiculous theatrics, lies, making and taking blood money from my and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and their keyboards. And even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed, in my case, still no one knows me. In the end, I forgive myself for not choosing my life sooner, for not being more brave, vigilant, bolder, and outspoken, stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, for being hopeless, desperate, simple-minded, weak, and inexperienced. I forgive myself for not realizing I was enduring a life of domestic violence and that the vicious cycle of never ends. I had nothing to compare to. I've never been hit by a man ever before in my life. I was raised hitting a woman was wrong and should never happen. No excuse.
Okay.
I forget.
I said this on somebody's stream the other day, and a couple people in chat disagreed with me, but I agree with the teaching a man do not hit a woman. But the caveat is if the woman is the abuser and she lays her hands on a man abusively, then it is self-defense and you should expect to be treated like a man. So
Forgive myself for not escaping permanently, for not fighting back sooner to save myself, my son, my dogs, home and car. Having 20/20 hindsight, thinking of everything I could have done differently or better to avoid the outcome. I think about this every day since. Also, of all the good days we had together, for him at least, while I was constantly in hyperdrive, high alert, and paranoid, making sure I did everything right all the time. If not, the great possibility I would be ended as George threatened me with so many times before.
There's the other one.
I forgive myself for falling in love with a monster, and no matter how grotesque he may become, I still loved him, hoped, and forgave. I tried breaking the spell so he wouldn't be a monster anymore. I saw who he was inside. George made me then, now, and always love him for all of his cracks also. We made each other our own brilliant pieces of art from the cracks and repairs. Unfortunately, not all cracks can be. And all
This
of
is
my
the,
forgiveness, George is my greatest lesson and will
first
forever be
chapter
a
of her
part
book.
of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am, endlessly, and that I never stopped loving him. In all of it and still. When I first came to jail, I put my mat under my bed and cried all day and all night for months, only falling asleep from being so exhausted with grief. I wrote him letters. I wrote his family and his daughters, apologizing for asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I am sorry. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness. Please forgive me. Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound especially every day especially. It truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do
I
still
hope
love
he
him,
haunts
think
your
of
ass.
him, and miss
You
his
see, you
laugh
want
the
to take that
most.
one?
In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please wholeheartedly know that, and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Kraynick. To the entire planet, please forgive me. I graciously and humbly ask for consideration, for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin. I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long, for second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome, heal, and still hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this: would I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it were I who died? How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 1:17, all-encompassing, protect the abused.
She is seriously not quoting the Bible.
Ms. Boone, is that the end of your written statement?
Yes.
Now, gathering your thoughts, did you want to make an oral statement?
I do.
All right, would you do that now?
No.
Yes, please.
No.
My statement, my verbal statement is primarily to the Torres family, to the judge, to his daughters. I know you all know who I really am and that I did care for George and that I do still love George. I know you know that we had very many good days. And I take offense to the statement of being said that this is just for a moment. Right now with me here in the courtroom in front of you all, this is just for a moment. But the moments before that, in order for me to be here, is endless. It's everlasting. The scars that I have on the inside, my outside scars have healed except for my stab wound. But this has changed me as a person to see things differently and to understand things differently and to not be weak and just try to protect yourself and forever, regardless of the time that I may receive from today, I forever will have this experience. I forever will have George Torres with me in my heart, in my mind, my body, and my soul. As he and I used to say that we were one soul split into two bodies.
I don't think he ever
This is
said
not
that.
just for a moment. It may be for everyone in this courtroom, but when I leave, this is forever. When you all leave, that this is forever. This is forever for everyone here and those who it matters to most. I am one of those who will experience this forever. I'm sorry. Words do not define my shame.
You should be
And
shamed. You should be ashamed.
I don't know what else it is that I can say and convey to the Torres family how this happened. The ifs and whys and how really don't matter. It happened, and I'm sorry. Words cannot describe. And I hope that everyone can forgive me, the Torres family most of all, and his daughters, because I know what he meant to them. And I don't think that anybody ever understood what he meant to me and I to him. And I ask for forgiveness.
Ms. Boone, I have just one or two questions, if you don't mind. And you can speak on it if you want or not. But this is a unique case, and one of the reasons it's so unique is that you were in jail for 4.5 years prior to your trial. And I understand that when you were brought up as a child, that you did have some spirituality in your family, some church, some religion.
Always.
But I understand that you got away from that. Did you have a chance during the 4.5 years to look back at your spirituality?
Absolutely. You know, everyone supposes that this is one of the worst experiences of my life, and it's actually been one of my greatest. If I were not beaten to death, I was going to work myself to death on the outside, and I never had time to get back into my Bible and to pray and to be with the Lord. And I, being here incarcerated, have had time, of course, to get closer to God, to reacquaint myself to Him and realize what it's all about. This is all temporary. And when I say temporary, I don't mean by being set free in jail or from prison or wherever else. It means being set free and temporary, meaning that you work for something higher, you work for God, that you strive for your crown to be placed upon your head by Jesus Christ by being said, "You have done well, my good and faithful servant." I've always tried to be a good and faithful servant. I was just a servant as opposed to doing all that I can when my family were alive and I was going through everything up to this point. I've become so much more closer to the Lord, and it's made me such a better person. And I hope that I am an example going forward of the Lord's light and can draw many people to me because of it.
Any follow-up, State?
No, I assumed that was the final word.
Thank you. She can return back to council's table. Anything else from your side of the ledger, Mr. Owens?
No more witnesses, Judge, just arguments.
Okay. Anything else in rebuttal or just proceed to
Oh,
argument, State?
James Owens, please don't talk.
Okay. All right. Once Ms. Booth's seated, you can proceed with your argument. Either Mr.
What
Jay
are
or
you
Mr.
going to
Pastore.
argue about now?
You may proceed, sir.
Your Honor, I'm going to start my argument by what I anticipate Mr. Owens will bring up in his presentation regarding the plea offer in this case. That she was offered a resolution in this case of 15 years in the Department of Corrections to begin with. I think it's important, though, that the entire circumstance of that plea offer is put forward. And there's something very critical to that. It's not just 15 years in the Department of Corrections. It's 15 years in the Department of Corrections, but it's predicated on something. And the consideration that it's predicated on is the defendant coming to court and accepting responsibility for her actions. For her coming to court and saying, I am responsible for George Torres's death, and I accept the punishment that comes with it. That consideration was never given in this case. And because that consideration was never given in this case, the offer of 15 years in no way represents what this case is worth, or what George Torres's life is worth. That is an offer predicated on a particular circumstance, a circumstance of a first-time defendant accepting responsibility and giving every benefit of the doubt and coming to court and saying that they are ready to be punished. Those conditions were never met. So then we turn to this case, and we turn to this crime, and we turn to the actions of the defendant of taking the law into her own hands and murdering George Torres. She has never shown remorse for that. She didn't show remorse for that here today. She again painted herself as the victim. She's the victim of George Torres. She recounted the litany of evil deeds and mistreatments that he perpetrated upon her. She's the victim of George Torres's family. She's the victim of the police. She's the victim of social media. It's all about Sarah Boone. Everything's about Sarah Boone, about how she is the victim. And Sarah Boone sentenced every one of George Torres's loved ones to a life sentence. Just like she sentenced George Torres when he was in that suitcase. George Torres lived out his last nightmarish circumstance in that suitcase, begging to be let out for several minutes, which undercuts any argument that this was somehow unsophisticated. There was ample time and opportunity over and over for her to do something different. And she went forward with taking the law into her own hands and ensuring that George Torres was never getting out of there. While she went up to bed and went to sleep for hours on end. She can't say that she was in duress for the same reason. She was in such duress of Jorge Torres that she goes upstairs and goes to sleep for 11 hours. Your Honor, there's been nothing from the testimony of Dr. Harper either that establishes any type of diagnosis that would give this court a basis to downward depart. Dr. Harper has put blinders on to the fact that she has been incarcerated for 58 months. 58 months with the opportunity to receive mental health treatment, and the expert witness is absolutely incurious about what any of those records or diagnosis or anything that would have been there would have said. There is no valid basis for a downward departure in this case. She deserves a life sentence. Thank you.
Mr. Owens, response?
Just Kraynick. First off, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear our side, hear the witnesses, and review the letters on Sarah Boone's behalf. You know, we've all been here for this trial. We've all been here for other trials. We've all got some age on us. We've all got some life experience on us. And this is a unique case. This was a unique homicide. It was a unique death. And as we all know, a lot of these cases are not black and white. They're shades of gray. And these crimes don't occur in a vacuum. That there's generally a history, especially involving a domestic couple, a history that comes into play that must be explored. And a lot of what Sarah Boone testified to here today probably happened behind closed doors. And we all know that many times we do not know what happens behind closed doors between a man and a woman in their home, unless there is some reason for the neighbors or law enforcement or somebody else to get involved. And that happened in this case. And so gradually over time, as this event occurred, there was an investigation, and it was learned that there was a history of domestic violence involving these two parties. And what we learned was that physically there was violence, and there were photographs to establish that, as were introduced in the trial. And then there was testimony from experts, not only the defense expert, Dr. Harper, that Sarah Boone was the victim, and she was a victim of intimate partner violence, but coupled with the fact that the state's expert testified on the stand at the trial that Sarah Boone was a victim of intimate partner violence, that she suffered from this domestic or this battered spouse syndrome as the hands of Jorge Torres. So there's two sides to it. And in a domestic violence situation like that, 95% of the women get out of that relationship. When violence starts to occur, they've either been raised a certain way, they have a certain self-esteem about themselves where they refuse to put up with it, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that they can do better. But there is a small percentage throughout the country that for whatever reason mental health issues, addiction issues, whatever it is. It's complex. Financial reasons, children are involved, whatever. If you do any studying on it, there are circumstances where there is a group of women, predominantly women, it can happen to men, but majority of the time it's a woman that gets caught in this cycle of what we term as intimate partner violence. And heard the testimony about the cycle that occurs. It's over a period of time and it repeats itself, and you go through these phases. A lot of times the victim's not a great historian at trying to articulate it. She tried to do it here today. And I think on Sarah Boone's behalf, she is a unique individual. She's got the personality that she's got. I don't know. You heard from Dr. Harper that a lot of that was formulated based on the way her mother did not bond with her, the way that her father was the way that he was, the fact that she lost several relatives at a young age, and the trauma that can result. We heard from Dr. Harper that she did suffer from post-traumatic stress as it relates to that trauma in early childhood, and then again as it relates to the events that occurred between Mr. Torres and her. So it's complicated, Judge.
You're making it way more complicated than it needs to be.
But the jury has spoken. Sarah Boone was entitled under Florida law to present that defense, and she did.
And
that
it's
testimony was allowed
not the
to
truth.
be presented. She was allowed to testify. But the jury spoke. And so here we are today with you in a position to decide what is justice. for Sarah
Perfectly
Boone.
said, Silver Fox.
And I don't know you that much other than our time together, but from what I know you try to
Really
do the right
trying to
thing.
be like, I know we don't know each other
And that's
very
what we're
well,
asking
but damn, he is
the court
Bruce.
to do. To have some discernment, to have some understanding of the unique situation that Sarah Boone found herself in. And quite frankly, Judge, this all didn't occur behind closed doors. A lot of this was in the public eye. Mr. Torres had, I believe,
Yeah,
3
but your
criminal
jury
cases
was not in the public eye.
before the courts of
Your
this county,
trial
in
was
which
not.
Sarah Boone was a victim. Mr. Torres was the accused.
Jury,
Those
finder
cases
of
were
fact.
dismissed.
Jury,
We
guilty.
know from the history of this domestic violence field that that's normal, that Sarah Boone every time either tried to bond him out or tried to get the case dismissed. At some point, somebody has to stop.
You need to stop
Somebody has to say,
now.
wait,
Quit while you're behind.
what's going on here? This keeps repeating. It's going to get worse. Something's going to happen.
The only person making it worse is you.
The system failed, Sarah Boone. I'd ask for you to
No,
consider that.
you failed Sarah Boone. You made her more
Circumstances surrounding
ridiculous
that
than she
failure.
already was.
And what led us here today. I've asked the court to consider a downward departure. I believe you've gotten a copy of the score sheet.
Not since before trial. Is the score sheet stipulated to?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, you may approach.
I liked the way the prosecution put it.
Thank you.
She,
Yes,
that
Judge,
15-year
I was provided
video.
that here today, and I believe, I can't remember the total number of months that it involves, but divided by 12, I think it's 20 months. 20.6 is the low end of the guidelines or something about.
It's 246.0 months based on the score sheet.
I did the calculation, but I believe at the low end is 20 years, 20.6 years state prison. I believe is the low end.
20.5. Yes, sir.
And as the court
I
knows,
was
I believe
wrong.
it's
I
on
thought it was
page 3, there are some
22.5.
aggravators that the court can consider in imposing the sentence, and then there are a list of mitigators that the court can consider in downward departing, meaning going lesser than the low end of the guidelines. And in the defendant's motion for downward departure, we mentioned, and I had Dr. Harper testify about 2 or 3 of the grounds, and the court needs to only find one to go below the guidelines. The capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and to conform said actions to the requirements of the law were substantially impaired. Judge, I don't have to reiterate the facts and circumstances surrounding this event. You were here, you heard the testimony, you heard the circumstances surrounding what happened and how it happened. I would ask that you consider that as a mitigator. 2D, the defendant requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance abuse or addiction and is amenable to treatment. I think it's fair to say here that we know that Sarah suffers from some mental health issues, objective mental health issues that have been opined by Dr. Harper and Dr. Werner. And you heard Dr. Harper testify about the borderline post-traumatic stress disorder that she suffers from as it relates to this event, as it relates to her trauma that occurred in childhood. I think we heard from Dr. Werner. Dr. Werner testified that she suffered from the alcohol abuse disorder, as did Dr. Harper, but Dr. Werner also mentioned that she was not for sure about the anxiety disorder, whether it occurred prior to or because she was in the jail for the 4.5 years. However, she does require specialized treatment for the mental disorder, and she is amenable for treatment. And then third, the defendant acted under extreme duress, I think based on Sarah Boone's mindset as she testified to her today, and then you heard from the experts at the trial, that when you get that anxious about what happens, Sarah testified about they would have good days where there would be no drinking or very little drinking, and then there would be other days where there was heavy drinking. And
Drinking is also not an excuse for violent behavior
is when
and
potentially
abuse.
things could get violent.
I've known plenty of
She
alcoholics.
was constantly anxious about each day that she was with him. She loved him. Obviously, being in a cycle like that where you love someone but can't leave them. For whatever reason, Jorge Torres couldn't leave Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone couldn't leave Jorge Torres, and it was a vicious cycle. But we believe that she qualifies under that it was under extreme duress at the time of this event. And lastly, the defense was committed in an unsophisticated manner, which was an isolated incident. Now, isolated, we know, Judge, that she had one prior event in which both of them were arrested. You heard her testimony that it was during an event. They ended up downstairs next to the washer and dryer, and that she was on the bottom, and she had used her hands to try to get him off, and she had tried to choke him, and there were some marks on him. And she was arrested for domestic, I think, felony domestic violence battery, as well as he was arrested. I think a few days later, both of those charges were dismissed against either party. But she has no criminal conviction record. She has never been convicted of a crime other than that event. Now, I think that can be distinguished. So we believe that it was an unsophisticated manner. Obviously, the uniqueness of this event is unsophisticated. Anybody that would calculate that they were going to murder somebody by putting them in a suitcase and let them spend the night, and the next morning not try to dispose of the body?
She was drunk.
Not try to put the suitcase
I give
in
her
the car
that
and go
much.
dump the body? Not try to dispose of the bat?
Because she
Do
didn't do anything
something?
wrong. She thought she was going to hide
did
behind this
nothing.
fence.
No attempts to tamper with evidence. No attempts after the fact to uncover any conduct whatsoever. No attempts to delete the videos from her phone. Here's my phone, voluntarily giving that information. I think that goes to the unsophisticated manner, unintentional.
She didn't realize she
Death.
took the videos. If she known she would have taken the videos, she never would have gave that phone up. But she was drunk.
I remember the first time I saw the suitcase video. And I know people have different opinions.
Stop talking. Just stop talking.
Tony Henderson, my colleague, had a different opinion when he saw it. But I remember the first time I saw the video and I heard what she was saying to him. When he was saying, "Hey, Sarah, let me out. I can't breathe," or words to that effect. And the way that she was talking to him and the statements that she gave to him, in my mind, what has he done to her? What has he done to her? Any loved one you see in a situation like that is going to run and let them out. So my thought was, obviously, they were both drinking. But what has he done to her? And
I
think it's
feel like
telling
his mom does. Obviously not
about
that,
what she'd
you know.
endured. So it's not a clear-cut case, Judge. It's not black and white. There is some gray. And it's up to you to decide what's appropriate based on the courts, based on the jury's decision. But I would ask you to temper whatever justice that you think is appropriate with some mercy. And consider the fact that the state was willing to offer 15 years on a manslaughter as a lesser included offense based on the facts and circumstances that they were aware of prior to this trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttal by the state?
No.
Court has had the opportunity to review the evidence and testimony that was presented at trial. The victim impact statements presented here today, the statements of character witnesses, both orally and in writing, Dr. Harper's report and testimony, the defendant's testimony, pre-sentencing investigation, the arguments of the state and the arguments of the defense. Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of momentarily. Due to the court levying a life sentence, the court is inclined to liquidate those to a civil judgment unless I hear opposition from the state.
No opposition, Your
I
Honor.
like
Madam
life
Clerk, if you could
minus
please
time
give us
served.
the
What do you-
credit time served and the court costs, please.
What the,
4 years,
what the
9
fuck?
months, and 8 days, and the court costs are $418, the state prosecution fee of $100, a jerk fee of $50, and a plea.
Good.
I'm right.
So the total would be $618.
I mean, we make fun of Sarah Boone.
All right, ma'am, the court costs and costs of prosecution are $618. Those will be liquidated to a civil judgment. You will be given credit time served of 4 years, 9 months, and 8 days. You will have 30 days from today to appeal the judgment and sentence in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. I'm going to have the courtroom deputy provide you the paperwork. Because you've been incarcerated for the last 58 some odd months, the court is going to declare that you are indigent in this matter. I cannot appoint the public defender to represent you as they are conflicted out. Similarly, I cannot appoint the regional conflict counsel to represent you for the same reasons. The clerk will appoint an attorney from the conflict wheel who specializes in appellate litigation. And again, you'll have 30 days from today to appeal that judgment and sentence in writing. Do you have any questions for me? You will now be remanded into the custody of the Orange County Jail to transfer you to the Department of Corrections, and I wish you the best of luck. State, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, anything further? All right. Thank you all very much. Court's off the record.
I mean, she got what she deserved. Like, honestly, though, like, she got what she deserved. Like, she got what she deserved. Like, Sarah, sorry, girl. You treat people like crap and you unalive them and then try to play victim and act like you're the innocent one in all this and it was self-defense and blah, blah, blah. The jury didn't fall for it and neither did we. I just there has to be parole. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said credit for time served. Because I just think a life sentence with credit for time served is funny. So there has to be a chance of parole, but she got what she deserved. I mean, he doesn't like, I know we make fun of Sarah, and I know we make Sarah a laughing stock and a meme, but at the end of the day, we have to remember that George did die. There's no there's no doubt that she did it. She literally said that she zipped him in a suitcase. They were laughing, and then all of a sudden she wasn't laughing. Like, she laughed with him to get him into that suitcase and then knew exactly what she was doing. She was drunk, so she didn't remember what she was doing. But at the time that it happened, she knew exactly what she was doing. On that happy note, we have been here. Yeah, she shed no tears, and I'm not going to shed any tears for her. We've been here for almost 3 hours, so 2 hours and 40 minutes. I have to cook dinner, and I also have somebody on the way to the house to pick up some baby stuff that I am selling, Facebook Marketplace sales type stuff. It's great. I love it. I'm getting rid of all the stuff that we no longer use, and it's just taking up space. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I think I'm not doing a stream tonight. Tomorrow I might do a daytime stream. Not sure. I have to work tomorrow night. So Wednesday will be our next stream. I'm not really sure what we're going to be talking about. I have a bunch of stuff in the works. I'm going to be recording a couple of videos, probably short 8 to 10 minute videos of the ethics, and releasing those every couple of days. I have one that I did on Gingers back in June. I'm kind of going to do it the same way. Record a video, release it. Because I have a whole bunch of, like, this will be, I have to compare his actions here to Florida's ethics. I have to look up Florida's professional conduct rules, but that seemed very crossing a line to me. And also his the assertion that she's not paying for his services because he gets rights to her book deal or her story is such a, even to be accused of it, like, by the prosecution, there has to be something there for the prosecution to even write that motion. So there's some shady shit going on, and I think it's unethical, but we always have that question. Is it unethical according to my personal values and morals, or is it unethical according to the Florida bar? That we shall see. And I'm also probably going to do bubbles too. So if y'all have any screenshots, things that would, anything that would be against Massachusetts, Connecticut, or Florida's bar rules, send them to me, squidproco24@gmail.com, and I will look them up, and we will make a bubbles on ethics and law. And there's a couple other internet lawyers that are on that same, that they're on that list too. I want to do a couple of Georgia judges, but because I live in Georgia, that's a no-go for me. But I might do Karen Reed judge and Judge DeThomasis, because there's some ethical problems there too. All right, y'all have a great day. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? Come here. No, she said hi, she said bye, and say bye, Sarah. Have fun in prison. I can't wait for the appeal to come out. When it does, when it drops, I will definitely be reading through it. And y'all have a great day. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.